Hi, welcome back. In today's video we're going to do a twin needle on stretch fabric using a stretch twin needle and your sewing machine. Okay, so if you don't own a cover stitch machine to get this professional finish that you see on the bottom of t-shirts, you can do this on your sewing machine. Alright, so sometimes you buy t-shirts and they're too long or they're wrong shape and you want to reshape the hem, okay, and then reproduce that hem that you get on purchased garments using your sewing machine. So what I've done here is reshape the hem because this t-shirt was a little bit too long and too wide, so I've run it in and I'm going to reshape my hem because I feel that that's more flattering. And I'm going to show you how to thread your sewing machine using the twin needle. So you'll need stretch twin needles because they have a different point on the at the tip that penetrates this fabric better. Alright, now these come in two sizes, 2.5 millimeters with size 75 needles in them. 2.5 distance. And this is a 4 millimeter distance with 75 needles in there. Alright, now you'll notice that there'll be blue at the top. Alright, now if you're sewing any part of the t-shirt, they make stretch needles in two sizes as well, and you can buy those in size 75, which is an 11, or size 90 for heavier fabrics, and there are 14. Alright, and these are yellow at the top, and you've got blue for the size on the 90s. Sorry, I've got to put my glasses on, and the orange will be on your size 75, so you can tell the difference. Alright, now the other thing that you might need are stretch pins. Alright, so these have a different point on them, and I am a huge fan of these pins. They're nice and long. Alright, they're nice and long, and they have a ballpoint tip on the end. So they're glass head stretch pins. They're 35 millimeters long by 2.5, that's the width of them, or the diameter, and they're made in Japan, so they're very, very good. Alright, and I'm going to use these to pin my hem up because you're going to need to do that. The other thing you're going to need is an extra spool holder on your sewing machine. Alright, now some machines have them built in, like my machine here, so you've got the normal one that you use plus an extra one. Now some machines come with an extra spool holder like so, okay, and this one actually has that as well, and you'll need that plus a felt cap. Alright, now this is to prevent overspinning of your thread, but I'm going to use the two that are provided with my sewing machine. Now I'm going to show you how to thread a different machine, so that if yours isn't like this, most machines are like that nowadays, alright, because mine's very old. Now I might pin this up and get it ready, and then I'll start again and show you how to thread your sewing machine. Okay, alright, now I've pinned up my hem, but I've left this bit to show you a little trick. Okay, so when you are, I'll just put the pin down for a second. When you are turning up a hem on stretch fabric, don't just turn it up and have both those seams on top of each other, because it creates a lot of bulk there. So what I do is have your seam going one way and your hem going the other way, like that. Alright, that way they nestle beside each other and it evens out the bulk, so it's not so difficult for the machine to get over that lump. and then it's also a bit flatter on the side when you're wearing it. Okay, so that's a good little tip. Now I'll just put that there and we'll start by threading the machine. Firstly, I'll remove my normal needle. Alright, and I'll put in, because the hem that was on there is rather large, the closest I can get to that is a 4mm twin needle. Now this is done commercially, but that's about as close as I can get. Alright, so that's the commercial version. Now it only has one shank and the 2 needles come off it. Alright, so we'll just replace my normal needle with the twin needle. So that's what it looks like on the sewing machine. Alright, now first thing, very importantly, always use good thread and make sure it's on correctly. So this is a horizontal spool, so put the bottom end of my thread to the bottom end of the spool holder, so that goes on first. So you always do the normal threading first. Now on this sewing machine you have, oops, let's put the foot up. You have a little separator here. Can you see that? It's quite wobbly. First of all, thread to the left. Okay, so take my thread on the left hand side of that divider, then normally go through your machine and thread it. Now because that went on the left, I have to put it to the left of my thread guide. So my machine's got 2 guides, so if I threaded this on the left, then this must be on the left, and then I thread the left needle. Now your automatic needle threaders don't work with twin needles, so you'll have to thread it yourself, and make sure you put the foot up. Now we'll work on the second one. If you don't have 2 reels of the same color thread, you can wind a bobbin and use a bobbin on here. Alright, so if for argument's sake I was sewing from a bobbin, I would put that on my other spool holder like so. Alright, but I'm going to use this one. So pop that on, and you'll need another cap. Now with this one you need to thread to the right of everything. Okay, so now I'm going on the right hand side of my thread guide, or that divider, then normally go through the threading as you would usually. Now because I went to the right, I'm going to the right thread guide above my needle, and then this threads the right needle. Like so. Alright, and then place your thread through. Now I've put a bobbin in, but I haven't picked my bobbin up, so just turn the hand wheel once and bring up that bobbin thread, and now you're ready to sew. Okay, now before I do that, I'll replace this machine with that one and show you how to thread a different type of sewing machine. Okay, alright, now a lot of people will have a sewing machine similar to this one, so this is to cover all those basic machines they're bringing out now, because now they don't put this divider on sewing machines anymore. So this is a thing of the past. So what you'll need is your extra spool holder, and that should be in there, and there's a little square there for me to push that into. Don't forget your felt cap. Now let's thread the normal one first. Alright, remember the bottom end to the bottom. Put your thread cap on. So take the thread, make sure your foot's up, take the thread through the machine and thread it as normal. Now this one at least has a divider at the bottom. So you've got a thread guide that you can bring in from the left hand side, oops, sorry, or the right hand side. So remember, this is the left. Always do the left one first. And I forgot to change the needle, so let me just put a needle in. And I'll just put in my 2.5mm just for the purpose of the exercise. And whenever you're threading a machine, just cut the end cleanly and do not put any sewing solution on there. Just thread the the needle quite easily without any saliva on it. Oh, did I get that twisted? Unfortunately I did. Alright, now take your second reel, and this one stands up, okay, and thread the machine. Now don't forget to put the foot up. Now thread the machine exactly like you did before. Alright, but now thread it to the right hand side of that thread guide, like that. Alright, a nice clean cut across the thread, straight. And now sometimes if you can't see that needle, get something white, put it in behind, and you can see the eye better. If you can see it at all. Just a second. I think a pair of tweezers will do in this situation. That's always a good idea when your hands are a bit big. Gotcha. Alright, so now that's threaded up. And it's a good thing that you've got a separator here, because it prevents the thread from twisting around each other. Alright, so that one is ready to go, but I'll now take you across to this one. Now the next thing you need to do is change your normal foot for the satin stitch foot. Alright, now the reason for that is underneath your normal foot is quite flat. Okay, so same with this one. See how it's quite flat underneath, and there's no room for the bulk of the twin, like the twin needle. Whereas I would change that one to this clear foot. Okay, so that's that. Now on this one, see how you've got that cavity in there? It just allows the fabric, it puffs up a little bit, so it'll pass through there a bit easier. Okay. Alright, so we're ready to sew. Now we've got our satin stitch foot on. And the other thing is, if you do have a machine that has a dual feed, engage that now. Alright, now I usually like starting from the back, and I start away from the seam. Oh, now don't forget, oops, we do have to sew from the front of the shirt. So I've done 2 centimeter. Okay, so we're ready to start. Now you have to sew from the right side in this method, okay? And the other thing is, if you do own a machine that has a dual feed, engage that now. Alright, now I don't start on the seam, I start back from the seam, and I usually start the back of the shirt. Alright. Now we choose a straight stitch and lengthen the stitch a little bit. So maybe 3 millimeters instead of 2.5, and just keep your needles in the center. Alright? Because you don't want to break your needles. Now off we go. Now remove your pins as you get to them. I'll show you what it looks like at the back. So you'll get like a zigzag. Alright. Now make sure you're not stitching off the fabric. So you've always got your double layer of fabric underneath your foot. Alright. Now continue on in that vein, and then when we get to the other side, I'll show you how to finish off. Okay? We need to line it up, so hopefully you've stayed in the same vein all the way. Now you'll need to trim the threads from where you started, because we're going to overlap. Okay, so I'll just remove the back thread as well. Alright, so stay in the same line. Now you don't reverse with a twin needle, you just stop sewing. So I'll stop right there. And just leave yourself enough thread to tie it off at the back. Okay, so pull your thread, pull your bobbin thread, and then bring back your top thread. Now remember, it's a zigzag at the back because you've got 2 needles and the bobbin is going from side to side. There we go. Alright, so just tie it off in 3 knots. 1, 2, and the 3rd for security. And trim that. Now you can also use your loop threader to draw that through, but I think this is sufficient. Okay, and then when you press that, that will lay flat and nobody will even know the difference. Okay, now I hope that gives you enough confidence to go ahead and do it yourself. But I'm sure if you give that a go, you'll get professional results every time. Happy sewing. Okay.